So this is OK here, and we're looking forward to a Crazyhouse Candidates match between Art of Deception and Chicken Crossroad. Chicken Crossroad is online, so I'll just turn on his TV and we'll see when that starts. He's last played on Lichess a week ago, a 3+2 Crazyhouse game against GSVC, which he won. And he hasn't played since. Jasugi99, 12teen, also in the chat. While we wait for that, just watching Variant Bunny playing against Grand Lapin. And I think this might be an Atomic World Championship match. So she just saves her bishop. She's trying to open up the f-file. So we'll just watch this while waiting for Chicken Crossroad against Art of Deception to start. Starting in a few minutes, and they've started. Okay, so I'll close down the Variant Bunny. We'll follow the Crazyhouse. Okay, but that was definitely an interesting match as well, for those interested in Atomic. So we have this from Chicken. Something I play is black. Takes, knight here. I've seen Oppa play like this. What I play often. Oh. So this is good. Defends. Another way of playing is you try and put at h3, and that's another way of playing it. It seems like Chicken's defended quite nicely here. So yeah, in this position here, there's also just pawn here, and increased pressure. But okay, this is a nice way of playing it. White defends, takes, and white to play. So could he just sidestep, for example? Or we could block. Takes, you get pawn on e3. There's nothing really. Okay, so it looks like black is trying to sack a piece here in exchange. Okay, I was going to quickly check that everything looks fine on the screen. Hopefully the sound is coming through okay, so people can let me know that everything is coming through fine. I could actually go into the house party channel on Discord. There we go. Okay, so we can start properly from here. X Mohax, what is the story behind this opening? Who played it first? So I was just saying, I've seen Oppa play this a long time ago as black, but the three knights. Oh, Aliekin, says Mugwort. Ah, Mugwort's awake. Just double checking to see if Mugwort is streaming this. And he's not. Okay, I'm streaming it. Wow. Okay, so this got rather sharp. Going, instead of taking, goes straight for a counterattack, does something else. And then again, just ignoring the bishop and okay, what is the idea of this move? This. So the idea was to take the knight and then take the bishop and then put a bishop here. So there's a threat on the bishop by doing this. Takes, bishop here. Yeah, so he's allowing bishop takes e3. So this has not worked out well. Now the knight's under attack, so he has to back off, which he does. Bishop takes e3 now is coming in. So this has turned out really badly for white. But I think this bishop move was too slow. So what does he do now? He dropped a pawn on g7. Okay. Still, I don't see any nasty forks. For example, queen takes bishop, knight takes, something bishop here, check, takes here, doesn't work. So this is the problem. So he just moves the king. Queen takes knight even is a move. Oh, sorry, that's much more effective. Yes. Okay, so Art of Deception wins game 1. And are we going to get the same opening? Okay, hi there, A-Boss. Excellent. We have confirmation that people are actually listening. Yeah, as Katas says, we have Atomic World Championship and Crazyhouse World Championship at the same time. For those interested in Atomic, Grand Lapin is in action against Variant Bunny. Well, if Art of Deception knows this opening better than Chicken, then he might be in trouble. So here, I think taking on g7 is almost always, so it's just a rule of thumb. If you can take on g7 without losing the house, it's often a good idea. And now White's got another move he can do. What can he do here? So this pawn, potentially a weakness. There's 2 move threats of bishop there, pawn there. What? So okay, so positionally speaking, you have to think White wants to get in on the dark squares. Okay, Art of Deception just went and sacked a whole queen, and what? I don't see it, to be honest, how that works. I mean, if you could go pawn here, maybe, then there's some justification for it. So pawn here, bishop takes, pawn here, queen takes, then knight here, then almost you can see some justification, but that feels a bit slow. Jasugi99 says, is this cooked? Yeah, so I do wonder. Let's see. Takes, 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 takes. Is this opening theory? Jasugi99 is likewise. Maybe it is. Mugwort says he doesn't get it either. I don't think it is. I think he spent too much time for it to be really cooked. 1 minute 36. Pawn here is interesting. Pawn here takes, takes, king takes. Yeah, it just feels. Okay, but that's not going to work because there's a meter at queen e7. So not sure if it can work. Okay, so this is clearly not cooked from the time he's taking on his clock. So there are definitely questions White could ask Black involving this, but yeah, that feels too slow. So he's trying to pick up the knight, so the bishops are nice into position because that defends the knight. And now bishop takes knight is inevitable. Queen takes and queen takes rook. And okay, you might be giving up a queen though. That's the only problem. So that's why he must be thinking about going for it. Takes, takes, takes. Pawn here, for example. Takes rook, knight here, and then sack a queen for 2 pieces. Queen takes, knight takes, queen takes. And then the opponent's then got this, but then you can just take it. Takes, takes, takes. I feel like black is quite safe in that position. Now, this I wasn't expecting. Okay, so it's 2 pieces for the queen. That's actually quite nice. A nice little combination that Chicken's found. So giving back the queen. Takes the knight. Takes the knight, or does he want to throw in a check here? Or does he want to throw in a check here? These are some harmless potentially harmless checks you could throw in before taking the knight. I think the queen e7 is good. Queen e7 blocks. Oh, oh. Well, that's encouraging. Knight here, because then they're. Oh, he doesn't do it. I'm so surprised he didn't do it. And ArtOfDeception found a brilliant counter tactic. Yeah, knight here didn't do anything to stop that, did it? So yes, this queen check maybe wasn't so wise after all, because it gave this queen at e3 counter. Okay, but now we see knight d4, takes here, queen takes queen is coming, or knight takes queen. Queen takes queen is with check, but the worry is at e7 is coming next. Historically, by the way, ArtOfDeception 6-12 down, historically. So Chicken is definitely the favourite for this match. But maybe ArtOfDeception has prepared well. Yeah, this looks difficult. e7 is a problem. Having said that, you just defend e7, and if you can just defend e7, diagonals can't mate you. So that's actually a quite cunning thing you could do. Just taking the bishop, for example, and just say... Actually, sorry, that doesn't work. Queen at d8. Okay, so just defend d8 and say diagonals can't mate me. Yeah, that's what he does. Okay, interesting. That doesn't work, though, unfortunately, because the queen sacks for a rook. Okay, so he's actually running out. Okay, that makes more sense. He has to run out. And he does. So the point of this... Yeah, rook takes, okay, he gets a queen. Okay. Bishop here is a mate threat. Got to be careful. Queen here still... Yeah, still a problem. Can't... Queen takes rook is... Is this not a mate threat? Just bishop here? Okay, maybe it's not. Okay, that's interesting. No good blockers. Blockers can be taken. Knight takes rook. And rook here checkmate. Ah, he missed it. That's... What? Well, rook here checkmate. Okay, it's not checkmate, but come on. It's just going to be mate. Yeah. Double check, so mate. Okay. So Chicken does find a way through. I didn't follow the Lee Chess chat very well that game. Okay, so we're going to get a repetition of the previous line, maybe. Or maybe not. So knight here seems reasonable, bishop here seems reasonable. Pawn here probably less good because it opens up the dark squares around the king, which aren't weak at the moment, but as we saw, the key in this opening are the dark squares in the king side, h6, f6, often are a problem. I'm not sure if Duvid is trolling about walking into Art of Deception's prep. To be honest, 1-all, I think Chicken can be happy with 1-all so far, if he has been walking into any prep. But I'm not sure he has. Okay, so this is check, so there's no knight here just yet, but there could be just dropping a pawn in an aggressive looking place. There's a very good move actually for white if black plays pawn at e4, which is actually pawn at c4. So just going back to this position. Pawn at e4, pawn at e4, pawn at c4, just undermining the defender. It's actually quite annoying, this sort of move. Okay. Feels like d4 is coming and white is not too unhappy. Well, and therefore black is trying to make something happen quickly before that happens. This makes sense with the idea of at e6, getting in on the light squares. And that will force black to defend these light squares. So bishop at g6 maybe, that this square is taken. So here it just invites a trade, so it's not really worthwhile. Bishop at g6 I'm expecting. Okay, what other moves could we see? Could see a knight being dropped. Okay, we see a queen being dropped. Okay, just going for the sack. Slightly surprised, but okay. So he just wants to drop a knight on. So Chicken is sack sitting slightly, but so what was the move I was expecting here was more like just d4, protecting the knight with the bishop, something like that. But okay, I mean, queen takes knight seems inevitable. And then knight here comes again, pawn here, and it looks slightly annoying. It looks more than slightly annoying, actually, but probably not mate. I mean, I'm not sure if it works. I mean, I'm not sure if it's decisive. Probably you have to run your king. You can't run your king to d8 because the queen lands on e8, so maybe it is annoying. So, Art of Deception going for some counterattack. How to defend this pawn. Or do we need to? So if knight takes rook, knight takes pawn. See, without the queen, queen takes knight, knight here, queen back, pawn here, king here. Like, what? Not clear what the threat is, or even king. Yeah, I'm still struggling a little bit to see what white has here. Duvid likes bishop at e6. Yep, I think it's good. So sacks the queen. Okay, he gets a rook and a piece for the queen, which is not well. It's just a rook for the queen at the end of the day, and a knight rather out of play. Okay, so simply going for queen takes pawn. I don't think that's good though. I mean, Oh, nice find from Chicken. So a way of attacking and defending f2. So those queens on the board can be harassed a lot. So I certainly think White's doing very well here. I mean, Black is safe for now, but I can't. Yeah, it's just hard to see how to play it. And White's got so many pieces in hand. Takes, yep, expected that. Takes. Queen takes, and the old thing comes back. Knight at g5. He's trying to avoid it the whole time, and he's still trying to avoid it. He wants queen here, pawn here, checkmate. Chicken's not going to allow that. He finally gets in knight at g5. That was what he was going for all game. And f2 is protected. And ArtOfDeception flags. I mean, good win there from Chicken. I think there was one point in that game when I thought he was probably losing. But the queen's difficult to play with in Crazyhouse. Okay, so we're going to see same sorts of openings again. Notice how he takes with the g-pawn. He doesn't want the trade of queens dislocating his king. Few people like to play with dislocated kings, but one of the people who does actually quite like to play with the dislocated king is Jan Lee. He's quite happy to dislocate his king and prove that he can defend for 10 to 15 moves, and then once you've exhausted your attack, he then comes for you. And okay, so he's allowed this takes g7, because obviously the reason he didn't want to take on g7 because then knight at g7, the bishop comes into h6, and that's all very threatening. But having a pawn on g7 is not fun in games either. So what does Black have here? He has this idea, maybe. The problem is takes. Just f6 is weak. This is going to be a problem. So is there any way of defending f6 without compromising Black's own attacking chances? I mean, at e7 is fine, but it's rather blocking up Black's own position. But what else is there? So just to be more concrete, if here takes knight here, this is what I'm slightly concerned about, and then the second knight is falling here. Doesn't look fun. And Chicken definitely going into the tank. Oh, Duvid is saying something interesting about queen takes f2. Now that is an interesting idea. Now I hadn't thought of that. There was maybe pawn here, bishop takes knight, queen takes, knight here, going straight for f2. Not sure if there's enough. But that actually, I don't know, that's an interesting idea. And indeed, Black is eyeing f2 with this move as well. So this would be met with checkmate. Okay, but having said that, surely that knight can just be kicked for now. I mean, pawn at f3, bishop e2. This feels too vulnerable. Okay, and that doesn't work. Okay, so I just realized it doesn't work because if knight takes, king takes, knight here, check, and then the queen comes in and takes the bishop. So Yeah, this is not so simple. Pawn here. Knight takes pawn, king takes, knight takes pawn, check. Pawn takes, queen takes bishop would be the kind of line. Hard to say who's winning in that final position. David was suggesting knight to h5. Would black give up the queen? Not sure. Okay. The problem you take here, you're opening up all the light squares. Yeah, this is actually quite uncomfortable. Okay, just going straight for the attack. Notice that black doesn't have a pawn in hand, so pawn takes pawn, takes, you could even just go at f2. So yeah, e3 feels desperate. Queen e2 is very solid, just exploiting the fact that exploiting the e-file, and black doesn't even have really anything good to block the e-file with apart from his own queen. Hi there, Chesspatzer US, and bye. And black goes for a counter. Queen takes pawn, bishop takes pawn. So white playing very solidly here. Kind of slight. Black has managed to defend f6 though, for now. Or somehow black's the one who's attacking. I mean, instead of playing moves like at d2, it seems a shame that white isn't attacking along this. It's black's king which is more precarious, let's say. But it's black who's the aggressor in this position and taking the attack to the white king in the center, which is quite surprising given where we started. So notice how queen sacks don't work, because this knight is actually guarding the sensitive f6 square, as well as supporting a knight taking on f2. Probably just backing off is good. If knight takes f2, knight here is too strong. But instead, oh no, yeah, because now there's no pin with the queens off, so this is going to be hard to defend. Okay, that's a good move, threatening queen of d8 mate. I thought it was a good move, maybe it's not. He wants queen takes knight, but that's not going to work, because pawn takes pawn will mate. Oh, pawn takes pawn is mating, yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's not mating just yet. Okay, so spot the mate time. King takes... Oh, 2 queens is too easy, yeah. So with that, Chicken takes a 3-1 lead. Having lost the first game, he's won 3 in a row. And he now has white. Cat Poacher's on mobile. So I'll just give him the score. 3-1 to Chicken. And we again have this 3 knights opening from ArtOfDeception. Queen takes knight. We saw this earlier. Bishop here. Maybe it's an engine move. It feels like the bishop isn't necessarily in the right place here. But we're just seeing black following the line of game one, and game one was the game which Art of Deception this probably isn't actually opening theory at this point, but it's a game that Art of Deception won. And here we see the first novelty, the first variation from what's been played before, white simply backing off. Eldebaba doing some detective work. Or pretend detective work. Okay, so wow, a lot of pressure on e3. But that queen can't be stable. Surely you can just kick it. So knight here. Pawn here doesn't quite work. Because of it does work. En passant, knight takes, queen takes. That's not nice. Unless you have another move at the end of that line. Well, that's interesting anyway. Queen takes. Is there any continuation? No, probably not. Okay, so black sacking the queen. Or is he sacking it? Queen takes pawn. Gosh. That feels excessive from Art of Deception. And all the dark squares are nicely covered, actually. So black is going to have to try and exactly kick that defender. And the problem is, queen's not such a good piece. You could imagine if you could throw a check in and take that knight, that would be quite good. Take the knight and then take the bishop. But there's no quick way of doing it. You can go queen here. Takes knight. Takes knight. It's not very effective. Simply c4. Another idea. Okay, white. The problem is you're giving a pawn. You don't want to give a pawn. Sorry, so c4 doesn't work because it weakens this central pawn. So even the ideas of knight takes pawn and pawn here, it's still strong. Yeah, you don't want to give black a pawn in this position. Dude saying bishop at f2. Yeah, bishop at f2 is okay, but it's not the same as pawn at f2, which picks up the house. Okay, so now chicken with the queen in hand and going for knight takes g7. Simply castle seems fine. Very safe. Unless you want to go aggressive. Going aggressive is dangerous, so knight takes pawn, king here, queen here, king here. Far too dangerous, I think. So I think defending is a good idea. Ooh, defending, that's a very... Okay, so we finally get this concept of attacking the knights, but it doesn't work anymore because the bishop's defended. Okay, so that's the idea. The idea is knight takes pawn, bishop takes, and then pick off this bishop. But exactly, finally, Art of Deception has seen this at f2 idea, and this is killing now. I think this is killing. Because you're going to get a knight, you're going to get a rook, the knight will come here, and it might even pick... Yeah, this is defended for now, but... So yeah, what's the continuation? What are you going to do with the knight? Knight, king here, then pick off the rook for free. It's pretty dastardly. It's not for free because this can take here and then take here, but if there's time. Also interesting ideas of this at some point. Okay, so this is not over for chicken by any means, and he's considering whether to go queen takes knight. I think that would be... I think that's not necessary. Yeah, I think that wasn't necessary. So now he has two knights, a queen in hand. Black doesn't even have a mate threat, and it's white's move. So a lot in white's favour. The problem is his king is very weak, and he decides to use the queen for defence. Did he have nothing better? So other ideas would have been stuff like pawn at f6, but no, he goes for defence. And ArtOfDeception goes for a pretty slow move, actually, to be frank. And we're just going to see what he wanted to do anyway, which is knight takes pawn, bishop takes, queen takes bishop. Don't see a problem with that. I must be missing something. Okay, what am I missing? What's this knight trying to defend? It's defending e2, but that was already defended. It's not. It's defending the knight. Okay, I saw the knight was under attack, but this still comes. This still comes and still falls to the same idea. Knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes bishop. Okay, you have this at the end of the line, but yeah. Yeah, queen takes pawn seems reasonable for black. And this is a good defensive move, actually, also attacking h6 again. Five seconds on the clock. It's just uncomfortable how to play it. Queens, he wants a queen trade. Check, pawn blocks. Just hunting for a queen or a rook for h8. So it's bug style from chicken. Get me pawn or rook. Or knight even. Even knight will do. So really good defense from ArtOfDeception. He's being alert here. Wow, he's just really defending f6. Like, this is great. I mean, in a completely losing position. Great play. He has to block this file. Absolutely essential. The rooks get traded when the bishop takes. f6 again, just defending, and yeah. So white in a commanding position, but still nothing. Still can't break through. Okay, black is out of pieces. Okay, knight here is the only move. And you can sack the queen, I think. Can you? Maybe you can't. Knight here, knight g6, what? It's only move. What else are you going to do? Okay. I'm just trying to think why he didn't do that in the final position. Was there an obvious reason not to? Knight g6. Don't see it. Seemed like the only move in that position. And then still not. I can't see a forced mate. Okay, so ArtOfDeception playing this at h6. So the whole concept of this opening is getting in on f6, as we've seen. Really looks a strong move, hitting the bishop, hitting f6. This would be met by this check, so this probably wouldn't be good. So queen e7, eyeing the white king. If you can take on g7, you do, usually, so he does. And now it's white to play, and what's black threatening? Just taking on, the threat is taking on e4, I guess. I mean, even queen takes knight looks annoying. It doesn't work. Queen takes knight, queen takes queen, knight here, queen here. So that's something to watch out for. So it's a nice move, blocking up the e-file and also staring at this f6 square. Does it work? Queen takes knight, pawn takes queen. White is actually safe, and then we'll have knight at f6. David also saying queen takes knight. Yeah, queen takes knight is tempting. Takes, knight at f6, king here, knight takes rook. And we're getting a rook on the back rank. So queen takes, knight f6. What else are you going to do? You have to take it. Takes, and at least you're defended. But you don't have any mate now. So it's not really, it's really an exchange of queens. Queen takes knight is pretty much forced here. Queen takes knight, takes, and then that doesn't look fun to play for black though. But then this knight takes rook doesn't look fun for black either. Hi there, Ominous. This looks scary for black. Okay, yeah, we agreed then. Duvid says, guess opening prep with Duvid for CWC does not help that much. And GSVC says, looks good for black, to be honest. Well, so if it's just in terms of the openings, I feel like ArtOfDeception has got some nice playable positions in the opening. Oof, I mean, knight takes rook. Okay, we don't have a pawn, but just the rook's coming in here. This just looks so... So Cat Poacher said queen takes knight and then bishop g4. So that's a mate threat. Okay, we get the rook on the back rank. You don't want to take it because it takes with promotion. So just this. Knight f6 would just be met with this. That doesn't really work because then those two knights are kind of stuck. Well, is there another way actually? No, okay. Knight f6. How else do you defend that knight? That's actually interesting. Knight f6. Bishop here, then knight takes bishop. I don't think that was completely stupid. Knight f6 also defends this pawn indirectly. But okay, rook takes pawn is also very interesting. Because now rook here, even rook here back, you have an at f7 threat. Omnis says, not seeing any direct counterplay for black. Well, surprised to hear that from GSVC. I guess black could stay safe here. I'm not sure. He always has a knight if he wants it, and he always has pawn f2 if he wants it. So yeah, this is actually getting scary. Bishop takes knight, pawn takes pawn f2, king here, queen here. Yeah, ouch. I'm not seeing... Yeah, I'm not seeing anything fast enough for white. Whereas black's attack is very fast, just simply pawn at f2. Ah, he doesn't even do pawn at f2. I mean, this is such a cheeky move. Why would you do this? Pawn at f2. Why would you give your opponent, allow his rook to open up on the back rank? Unless you really want pawn at d2. But then this, it must be his calculated mate in that line, which is believable. He's got two pawns in hand, so you could maybe even... Okay, of course, sorry, if bishop takes pawn, you just simply got queen takes pawn, so it's a very simple mate. Pawn here and then queen here, checkmate. So okay, but pawn at f2 just seemed... pawn at d7 and pray, says Duvid. Yeah, this is not going to turn out well. Having said that, he now has coverage of e1, which he didn't at the beginning of this whole sequence. So I think the immediate pawn at f2 was working. I mean, if I just backtrack, yeah, just this position. Pawn here, if this queen at e1 is surely mating, so king takes, but then you get your knight in. Okay, if that isn't mating, I'd be very surprised. Having said that, this is also mating. You can't step back because queen d2 is checkmate. You can't step here because bishop here and then queen d2 is checkmate. So if you take, you're giving him another rook in hand. So by process of elimination, you step forwards. Queen here blocks him off. Oh, hang on, he can step back. That's okay. So yeah, knight stops him going here. Queen here. Oh, that's just checkmate. Okay. Yeah. Okay, nicely found by Chicken. Oh, rook takes f2. Did I just miss something completely that last game? Okay, that's terrible. The rook was defending f2 the whole time. Okay, so at g2, at b2 was very, very nice then, given that f2 was secretly protected. That was a good find. And with that, Chicken Crossroad takes a 5-1 lead. But notice this is a candidates match, so the full 10 games are going to be played. This isn't... Every game counts. Okay, so notice how we get a slight change up here. Slight change of opening. He wants to take the knight and go pawn at f2, basically. Pawn at f7. Or, yeah. I mean, white's just got too many options here. That's the basic problem. So even something like bishop takes, knight takes, pawn at f7 takes, knight here check, king steps back, and then you could either take this pawn or drop a knight on f7 or do what he did here with the pawn at h6. Far too many options. 2 pawns in hand. Black defends f7, but in so doing takes g7 is coming. Okay. Still trying to open up g7 to get a knight on g7. So notice if black simply takes this pawn, he'll take here, check, block, knight g7 here, bishop takes h6. That's the attack plan. Hi there, PKR. PKR says, thanks for covering the match. I feel like too few of them have had streams. Yeah, I mean, I think we need the top guys streaming again. Basically, we need people. But there have been a few streams. There have been in, but yeah, I've been away quite a lot, so I haven't been able to stream much. But I think sometimes with some of these top players, I'm not necessarily understanding all the things they do. So we need the top guys back streaming. That's what we need. Okay, so nice one, attacking the queen and defending g2. Still holding off from taking on g7. I mean, this is queen e4. He's still asking for the queen to be harassed. So you have to ask yourself, where's the queen going next? And it's probably here. That's all it. That's the. I mean, you could go here, but then there are discoveries which are nasty. So queen here is surely coming. And then what next? So PKR says we were spoiled when we had Jan and Yasa dual commentary streams. Absolutely. That's what we want. Okay, so he takes a pawn here. This could fall at some point. But this is maybe a bit annoying. This would also fall, so these are sort of... Okay, he's asking for knight takes bishop. He really wants a knight. And chicken's not going to give it. So I'm not even seeing the full reason why he wants a knight, but you can see quite clearly ArtOfDeception is after a knight here. There's no reason to give it. Oh, well, yeah, winning a piece is a good reason to give it. What's his reasoning? It could even be he was thinking of queen takes f2 sacks. They don't work, but... Oh, maybe they do. So ideas like knight here and you defend here and you simply take. So, yeah, that's interesting. But knight here... The problem is just queen here defends. It can't possibly work. Okay, so ArtOfDeception down to 16 seconds with 2 knights. How do you break through? With difficulty. He's having to defend, and the problem is he has too many holes in his position. So it's just simply takes, knight here. You have now a second knight for f6. It's just going to be painful. Seems like a clear way of playing. Just open up that weakness on f6 and open up your own bishop. And you're going in. That's a resigner. To be honest, queen takes pawn is not going to help you because there's going to be a trade of queens, which is not benefiting you. So. Okay, queen takes rook is check, so that's nice. Queen takes queen comes next, and then come in. f6 weak. Oh, he's just going for material. Okay. Oh no, maybe there was a mate there in that final position because he had a rook in hand. So after queen takes bishop, yes, after queen takes bishop, there was rook at d7, king e8, and knight takes queen checkmate. So a nice checkmate actually in that final position. So 6-1 Chicken Crossroad. Wow, after losing the first game, Chicken is fighting back with and all Duvit cheering on the sidelines is not really helping. This is one-way traffic. So what should White be doing here? So f6 is important. So if bishop here, just simply pawn takes, what might be an issue? Takes g7, I think takes g7 is good. Yeah, takes g7, and then get in on f6. Okay, but we're seeing this thing. We're seeing this line again. I think it's okay. Just surely White has something better. Really, he's going rook takes pawn again. Oh my goodness. I don't know about rook takes pawn. But maybe it's necessary to protect f2. As PKR says, it didn't go well for ArtOfDeception last time. It didn't. And yet I'm sure this is actually bad for black. I'm not sure this is, but I'm sure that, you know, at this point, this must be good for white. Surely, I don't know. So Chicken's actually thinking. He's not playing. Immediately. So what did you do last time? Was takes. Yes, so the problem is he can't really take here because then he loses control of e7, maybe. Um, so there are ideas, at b2, queen takes pawn, pawn here, going for materials, saying you don't have mate. That's not very wise, is it? That will get you mated. Queen takes pawn. Okay. Interesting. You could just take it, if necessary. This is dangerous because you're opening up the queen, but maybe you could even just do that and then block. But then knight here is dangerous. Because that. Okay. Let's calculate. Takes, takes, block. Knight here, check. And queen here, mate. That's actually the kind of strategy. So I think rook takes knight is safer. Oh, but pawn takes rook still is check. What am I talking about? But then at least there's not a knight here. So when you block, takes, block. Interesting move. Rook takes f3. Okay, he does do rook takes f3. I think that's important to keep that, to prevent a knight coming in on g2. That's why you couldn't take with the pawn. Otherwise, knight at g2 is actually really dangerous because bishop takes, queen at e2 is checkmate. So he does it this way. He blocks with the knight, which is interesting. So it stops queen takes pawn. Well, there's still queen takes pawn, queen takes rook. The question is, does white have a now counterattack if you do something like queen takes pawn, queen takes rook? He probably does. Just simply pawn here, king here, knight here, king here. I'm not seeing. What's the mate? Take c3, take e3 idea, says Jasugi. Well, you're going to block the bishop though. He does it. Takes e3, but just bishop takes. Okay, but what was... If you just took the rook, what was white's mate with a pawn and a knight? Pawn here, check, king here. I'm not seeing it, but... I mean... Oh, wow. 4 pawns, a knight and a queen. Knight here, queen here, and the king was getting away. Maybe there was a draw? Queen here and pawn. Yeah, that was mate. No, so the king would have to go back. So maybe that was a draw. So he was going instead for the win with this move. Pawn at e2. So yeah, again, we have the sort of situation where you could probably get a draw just by repeating checks. If you do this, do we quite have enough? 3 pawns, but you might run out of material. I think it's risky to go for it. Okay, goes for the bishop, yeah. And then he's going to try and finish it off with pawns. King just goes here. Yeah, king just goes to b1. Yeah, that was a mistake. I think black just had a draw by repetition. But was going for the win. So white's got two knights, which is why he moves his bishop here, because he's trying to defend the knight checks. But hang on, he's left this knight check. Okay, this is asking for... But black has nothing. What's going on here? He's just sacked his queen for nothing, and chicken lost. So having won the match, he loses a game. And ArtOfDeception mixing things up in the opening. So all chickens wins came in a single stretch. Two games to go. So the thing about this b6 opening is black is not taking over the center himself, and this is true in other openings like the Perk in standard chess, but he's really putting pressure on white's center. And in particular on this e4 square. So this is probably... Could see this. I'm not sure what the opening is. These are just examples of natural looking moves. Bishop here is slightly annoying, because if bishop here you could go takes, takes and repeat. Queen might have to come here. But you could just put a bishop here to harass it further. So, okay. But he's playing it kind of safely, trying to avoid the takes f2 sacks. Wow, what at d3 check led to mate? D3 check. Okay, I missed all these discussions last game, so sorry guys. Hang on. Why is black hanging his knight? Just wants to take here. But taking the knight opens up the H file, but then black gets a big center. Sort of just trying to consider the pros and cons. I mean, there's even, yeah, I was just wondering, yeah, there's even rook takes pawn. I'd have gone for rook takes pawn, surely. Because now this bishop is pinned. It's a bit of an oopsie daisies. And Margot saying, easier seeing the tactics when watching. Do dumb stuff while playing. Yeah, so it's true. When watching, rating goes up plus several hundred. Better to watch well and play poorly than play and watch poorly. Okay, so simply check and take this back seems reasonable. Unless there was some miracle mate, and I don't think there is. I don't think black wanted to take this pawn, because then the bishop might even come back with check or something, or knight here check, king here, knight here check picks up the rook. So he was trying to avoid all these sorts of things. And he's trying to hide away on c8, so knight here check, king c8. So we did get knight takes f3 indeed. What the heck is going on here? So it's 12-team. Yeah. Well, this pawn is hanging, but black doesn't mind blocking. There's no smother. It might have been worthwhile just to use up one of black's pawns in hand and just block up his position, but then maybe knight here would have come. But then pawn here. So I think queen takes pawn, pawn block would have been interesting. Okay, so he's preparing to move his... So notice the square is well defended, so there are no tactics there. And if there were tactics there, it could potentially be dangerous. No, actually it's not dangerous because the knight check on d2 is covered by this knight. So yeah, so white is fairly safe for now. The question is, can he actually make some progress of his own? I mean, another interesting idea was just rook d1 takes queen. Rook, yeah, it doesn't work because rook takes. There's nothing. Huh. Okay. What a weird position. A6 is going to be a problem, I think. So pawn at a6, even pawn at a6 check, and bishop at b5 provides a lot of coverage. But white probably didn't want to waste. I don't know, I don't feel this is right. Yeah, this can't be right. Okay, this is going to get complicated. Yeah, so rook at g1 is one nice move, as pointed out in the chat, just to use up one of white's blockers. Another nice move, by the way, is quite forcing, is bishop takes knight. Because you're threatening bishop takes queen next, which will be mating. With queen here, takes here. So, yeah, we've seen bishop takes knight, pawn takes. And now you want rook g1. Ah, he missed rook g1. Ah, white could have run the other way. But okay. Now, I'm not sure what's happening. Because if he's trying to cover f6, but f6 was already covered. But I think the problem is the back rank for black. Ah. This is too much. 0 seconds. Okay, so ArtOfDeception literally made that move with 0.2 seconds on the clock. He gets the queen, and he finds the mate. Oh my goodness. What a win from ArtOfDeception. That was really tough. And so yeah, clawing it back 6-3. I thought Chicken was going to swindle that. Holy, says Jasugi99. And they're just playing this at lightning speed. He's thinking, do I go queen takes knight? He's just playing 12 moves that they played before. Queen takes knight. It's kind of tempting. Rule of thumb, if you're not getting mated. This line is so chaotic. It's just yeah, so queen takes 9, see the advantage of it is it blocks up that f6 square. The disadvantage is then you have e7 is permanently weak. So it's a Okay, we've seen queen takes knight. I think queen takes knight is correct. Okay, now we've got a mate threat on d1. And white doesn't have a pawn or anything, so doesn't even have a pawn to drop. So black has got some nice initiative here. How is he going to defend d1? Knight at e3 could be a move. Knight at e3 seems reasonable. Black has to be careful. Bishop takes knight is checks, so it doesn't hang queen at e7 mate, but queen at e7 mate is always a hanging threat. Okay, so we did see knight at e3. Could we see rook here? Threatens mate as well. So if knight takes, just queen at d1 is also mate. So you'd want to block off this file. Bishop here, for example. A really nice move. So we're threatening knight here, takes. If he ever comes onto this diagonal, the discoveries that queen here is the mate threat. But why not just knight takes bishop? So knight takes bishop, knight here, king here, and then maybe this is annoying. Takes, and the queen will come in with checkmate. So knight takes bishop, knight here, takes, and obviously king here is just checkmate, so king up, queen here, oh it's still checkmate, because the pawn is cutting it off. So this is the standard hook mate, a knight, a pawn, and a queen on e1. So it's a hook mate. So a big threat. So you have to either guard f3 or you have to guard e1. Pretty good. That does defend e1. Yeah, so that does defend e1. But there are discoveries. So the problem with this move is knight takes f3, takes, king here, knight takes bishop is check. You don't want to do this if you can help it. But the problem is if you go king takes, you got bishop takes knight, and that's going to be surely curtains. Hang on, knight takes bishop here, knight here. Ah, that's the problem. Rook takes bishop is coming. Rook takes bishop is coming. And I'm not sure. It's surely mate because queen here, a blocker, takes, pawn here, takes the rook, takes, rook here, checkmate. So rook at f1 would be the final move. Okay, ArtOfDeception in the tank. Queen at d1, 12 says, so nice, but doesn't work. Well, it would be interesting to just to have a quick look at how these lines are. Okay, so that protects d2, which is good. No, this is just knight f3 is coming anyway. Takes, yes. Here. Ooh, you're allowing the double check. Oh, no. Queen e1, double checkmate. Using the fact that this rook is cutting everything off. Ooh, wow. Okay, so obviously king e2 was not the move. But yeah, king d1 doesn't work. Sorry, I just missed that. Because queen e1. Wow. So queen e1, really nice move. The double checkmate. So yeah, knight f3 is just a forced mate. Knight f3 is mate in 4. How nice. King e2. It's such a nice mate. So going back all the way to here, queen takes knight is good. Yeah, queen takes knight is good for black. Takes back. This isn't even the best move because of queen e5 check. Knight d6 and just bishop d2. Double coverage now on d1. So it is good for black, but the good move for black here was knight at d4. Oh, so Jasugi99 is on a game percentage of 87%. So he's definitely the one to beat in this tournament. Chicken is doing very well though, with a game percentage of 66%, and he's got his points on the board. Probably now he's up to 40 points, and I don't know if anyone's updated Chicken Crossroad against AOD. I'm not sure if I... Let's try again. 7. So it does work now. 7-3. There we go. 3-7. Done. So there you go. Chicken is now up to 40 game points, 5.5 match points. Match points are actually completely irrelevant, so they're just there for fun. Maybe they're a tiebreak, I'm not sure. But Chicken's played more matches. He played 6 matches. It should be everyone's played the same amount, because everyone's supposed to play 1 match every week. But some people are falling behind. In particular, King Switcher has only played 2 matches. But yeah, Jasugi99 on 87%. Chicken and GSVC are, and the finisher seem to be the close contenders. And Bugzilla. So those are the ones to watch for. GSVC, Chicken, Bugzilla, and the finisher. Penguin was started off doing quite well. He had an 8-2 victory against King Switcher to begin with. But he's had some tougher matches since against the finisher. And I see here he lost to variance only. So congratulations to variance only. Okay, so that's the situation. Just looking at this. Oh, PKR linked it as well. Yeah, this is actually quite uncomfortable for black. It's really quite uncomfortable. I'm not sure how to play it. Takes here against bishop g5. I'm not quite sure what you do at e5 apparently, but just queen takes bishop, queen takes queen, and a key move for white here apparently. Knight at d3, just taking a move out to defend. And if the queen presumably just backs off, back to d7, e7 rather. Bishop at b4. And why can't I just block? I mean, I'm going fairly deep here, which is not necessary, but I'm actually fairly curious what takes. Okay, so he gets okay, and he's getting another. The point is he's getting that knight on f6. Okay, so that's just a nightmare. So obviously you don't take back here, but okay, this is just really hard. So that was the games when Chicken Crossroad was black. Let's just quickly look at the games when he was white. Hi there, little Plotkin. Yeah, you're not going to be enjoying this part of the stream where I'm looking at what players should have played with the engine. Yeah, so this is it. So in this position, I usually play as black at a3. And the idea is just put pressure on that c3 knight. But I've seen Oppa do this. Bishop takes knight, pawn takes, and knight at e4, and you get sort of 3 knights, which we're going to see. Cat Poacher in chat said at h6 was good for white, but okay, this is solid. Knight c6, bishop d3. Okay, so this feels solid. Knight takes d2, queen takes, and then I didn't think this was correct, this bishop move, but I was thinking just move the queen out the way. But but apparently bishop d3 is correct. Bishop d3 is correct. At g4 is correct. Okay, so ArtOfDeception was actually playing opening theory here. And this is nice for black apparently. And the idea is if takes takes. If you ever take here, you have this knight here coming in, taking this bishop. Okay, I hadn't quite seen the subtleties. So chicken crossroad, just moving the knight back is a very chill thing to do. Knight here. Okay, so queen takes e3 is correct. Okay, this is really interesting. This is all just queen e2. Yeah, so black is doing. I was thinking black is doing nicely here if he ever gets a pawn for here. So f5 at f5. Yeah, so f5 apparently is really strong because then you keep your pawn in hand. But okay, at f5 here. Defends. Yeah, simply castles was also good. Okay, wins a pawn. Okay, and at this point, yeah, obviously black is doing very well indeed. So I think that was this is one of the paradigmatic games, as it were. Although chicken managed to fight back somehow. Queen takes d2, bishop takes d2, queen here. At this point, queen here is good. Knight here. Queen takes pawn was good as well. So black was doing really well here. And why did queen take? Okay, so this is what we didn't see. Queen takes g3, bishop takes. Knight at e4. Okay, so why do I care? Like, suppose I just move the queen. Knight at d2 check, and I'm just, yeah, okay, that is kind of annoying. Okay, so that's quite hard to see, this sort of, with two knights, you have a knight here and a knight here, and then you're picking up this piece here, so you're getting a second piece for the queen, and actually white's position is really collapsing, so knight d4 here, knight d2, king takes, and knight takes bishop, and you're hitting the queen again. Thanks everyone for watching, and congrats again to Chicken Crossroad for winning against ArtOfDeception. Bye everyone.